Hello, how are you doing today? Doing all right? Good, that's what I like to hear. I'm doing pretty good myself. I have been busy the last few days and involved in doing work and supervising some work. But I take time out for pleasure. Listening to music is one of those things, working out, reading, doing research, sleeping and resting, all those things. Well, today, while I was on Twitter, I came across an artwork. The artwork is by Cressida Campbell. So that was noteworthy, looking at that particular work of art. It has this mellow appearance and soft lines, soft colors, symmetry, and balance, all these things. And there is a particular Twitter account which is quite well known, and I follow that particular account. That is of Francisco Ribeiro. And the reason I'm making this video today is because of the quote that I came across. I believe I may have never heard of the writer from whose writing this quote was taken, but was so well put together with the artwork. What does the quote say? Before I get into that, I'll tell you the name of the writer. The name of the writer is William Trevor. And the quote was taken from a book from 1988, The Silence in the Garden. I haven't read the book, and I've not ever read anything by William Trevor. We will, of course, take a look at the quote, but I was partially unsurprised and partially surprised when I took a look at who William Trevor is. So I got this information from a website which I'm sharing with you, and then we'll get into the quote. So William Trevor is one of the most prolific writers to have emerged from modern Ireland. The part that did not surprise me was that William Trevor is from Ireland. There is something about the writing, the expression, the music. You might recall I made a video about Chris Rea. Actually, I made a series of videos. And Chris Rea is also from Ireland. So this quote that I took a look at and immediately was struck by inspiration is by a writer from Ireland, William Trevor. What I learned more about him is that he is acclaimed as both a novelist and short story writer. And he's somewhat unusual in having maintained the two forms of writing in tandem rather than using only one. Furthermore, I learned that his commitment to the short story as a medium relates largely to his understanding of storytelling as the natural, expressive idiom of his native Ireland, where the great 19th century realist novel failed to gain a foothold, but the short tale flourished as natural element of traditional culture. And that is something about Irish music as well that I noticed in all of it that I've listened to. I've listened to Irish folk music, which is rich in imagery and storytelling. But then as I was making a series of videos about a couple of albums by Chris Rea, I noticed that natural storytelling ability, it just flows from not just Chris, but so many artists that come from Ireland. So it's a part of their culture. What more did I learn about the writing of William Trevor is that he takes a look at the quirks and the institutions of Englishness, and he takes an outsider's view of the mundane yet fascinating routines of English life. To that, he's an outsider. The things he deals with in his writings, domestic quarrels, office romances, and in that storytelling, he gives penetrating insights into the ritualized chaos of the lives of ordinary people. As I said, I have not read any of his writings, but as I am reading this about William Trevor, I might pick up the book from which the quote I'll be going over is taken from. Now it's time to read that quote and mention the book. So the name of the book, I do believe I mentioned it earlier, is The Silence in the Garden, which is from 1988. And the quote reads, "The past has no belongings. The past does not obligatorily absorb what is not wanted." When I saw this quote, particularly the way it was put together with the artwork, but just these words by themselves, it really made me stop. You know, there's so much information in the stream of time on Twitter or any other network, and one can hastily go past so many things and not wait to take a moment's notice. But these words made me stop. Now that I know that it came from William Trevor, and what an acclaimed artist, or rather writer he is, I understand the appeal. So let's take just a few minutes to dwell on these words. The past has no belongings. That itself seems to contradict what many so dearly hold close to their hearts. The past has no belongings. We have to acknowledge that there are so many people, perhaps, if not billions, then millions of people, to whom the past owns their life. The life they live today belongs to their past. They are completely beholden to and defined by what their past was. Now, if that past had its unpleasantness, which is true of human life, it had its injuries and tragedies and sorrows, and of course there would be reasons for happiness and joy and celebration as well. But the way these words are written by William Trevor, it's not talking about the celebration. Because as you read the words right after the first part of the quote, the past does not obligatorily absorb what is not wanted. These are not words written with a sense of joy, but rather of pathos, of sadness. And it's a consolation to read these words and to understand them. To me, what this means is that a person still has the freedom to define what their past was. I'll say that again. A person still has the freedom to define what their past was. Now you might ask, how can I say that? How is it possible? The past is unchangeable. You cannot undo the past. But there is this element of desire that William Trevor is speaking of. And mind you, I have just read this quote. I do not know the context. I've never read the book. I've not read any writing by William Trevor. It's possible I may have read, because I do a lot of reading, I may have read something by William Trevor and not even have paid attention to having read it and acknowledged the fact that he's the writer. It is possible. However, deliberately I did not make a note if I did read something by him. Coming back to the past does not obligatorily absorb what is not wanted. So it's up to an individual's desire. If you do not want something in your past, the past doesn't, if you personify the past doesn't feel an obligation to absorb it and to retain it. So you can eliminate things from your past by eliminating them from your memory, or how important you consider those people and events. This is what it means to heal from the past. Because if you keep on holding on to what you should not want to or do not want to, then the past will keep on spewing up, keep on fomenting that pain and that injury from the past, even if it is one event or if it is a series of events. A person could be reliving that unhappiness and that injury of the past because they have obligated their past to absorb and retain it because that is what they have wanted to do. Now, it might sound like I'm accusing every such person. So I'd like to clarify that these words are words of encouragement and consolation. And one would wish that it was entirely up to how a person wants the memory of their past to be. But then it is not a guarantee. In fact, if there is a person who forcefully tries to put something out of their minds and out of their hearts, something that was the reality of their past, the more they try, the more they struggle, the more the memory reinforces itself. Because they, for whatever reason, are unable to put it out of their minds and hearts and refocus themselves to something else. It could have been something so significant that it's not a part of deliberately putting it away from one's mind and heart. The thing or the event or the series of events and experiences is just defining who they are. And it's not as simple as putting it out of their minds and hearts. And then the past becomes something that behaves as a creature that has the obligation to absorb and retain. And then it's not a matter of wanting or not wanting, it's a matter of something that belongs to the past. And then we have actually moved away from what William Trevor is trying to convey. But let's go back and read one more time these words by William Trevor. The past has no belongings. The past does not obligatorily absorb what is not wanted. Think about these words, what they mean, what it means for you. Thank you very much for your time. We'll meet again. Goodbye and take care.